Steve. Why are we not hearing anything more about the Gulf disaster? That's still going on, is it not?
Yeah, I have an answer for you. Because the biggest money in the world, some of the most outspoken critics, and someone can correct me on this, but I believe 24, I believe we're up to 24 now, of the most outspoken critics have all met untimely death.
Really? Okay.
Big money buys, and I'll tell you another Quayleism, okay? Big money buys all the silence you can imagine.
Oh, that's true. That's, I mean, we see that.
And now I'm going to put the question back on the person who asked it. Who do you expect to hear the truth from?
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean,
I can tell you this, that the mutagenic natures and properties of the shrimp, I don't know if you saw the article last week, but they were showing not how much, but the toxic level of saturation in the shrimp in the Gulf. Did you see that?
I did, and well, again, no one is talking about this, and I will say this: without the so-called alternative media like ours, the truth would be forever silent. So, I mean,
right, and so why would God raise it up? Because God is true. See, most people think truth is a process. Truth is a person. By the very foundations of the world, Colossians, my favorite, everything's my favorite, but tonight my favorite, Colossians, the second chapter, is an amazing chapter because it talks about all things that are existing, that we see existing, exist and consist by the very power of the living God, Jesus. Listen, no place in the Bhagavad Gita did Buddha create the world,
Exactly. Now,
so the point is that here's the tragedy, okay? And I asked the Lord this, and I don't have an answer, okay? But this is just, there are perplexing things to me right now. And obviously we know about seduction. We know about deception. We know about the ability to fake and to protect. But I said, Lord, why is it that, and I said, you said your people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. What is it that they choose to reject it for, okay? And I believe the Lord gave me the answer. Because they don't realize they will be brought before His throne for accountability, okay? And if they took responsibility, it might move them out of their comfort zone, okay? So, and I believe that's the case because that's what your emails that were asking me, and look, I have passion about this. I'm about saving people's lives, and I'm about helping the people I can help. I wish I could write the checks I need to write every day. I can only write what I've got the ability to write on a given day. But I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, when you touch someone's life with an act of mercy, an act of care, an act of just saying, enough is enough, I'm going to make a difference in your life, everything changes. You've changed an outcome in history. See, that's what people don't understand. How do you know the vet that you don't help today is the guy that saves your life tomorrow?
It's kind of like the butterfly effect in a way, but
that's a good way. That's the way scientists explain it, okay? My answer to that is who created the butterfly. You follow me?
That's great. Yeah, that's a good comeback.
I just want to stress this a little bit. We see that the Washington area, West Virginia, is no electricity. They can't get gas. There's no services. People are saying, if you have money, you'll be okay. Well, if money's not going to work when there's no services provided.
Yeah, how are you going to buy gas if you can't pump it out of the ground?
Right.
The answer to that is you store it. You do. You store it, and you get some stuff called PRIG, which is a fuel additive. It's better than stable. Okay. And the other thing is that, you anticipate that day, and you prepare for it. Hey, Doug, no one should ever be at a service station trying to fill up when there's no gas to fill up with. They should have already anticipated that. They should already have anticipated. Look, I'm getting emails right now of people saying there's no food, their trucks aren't in, the weather is bad, the power's out, no trucks are stocking. You see, this is what I'm trying to tell people. The Bible gives us a specific instance of Esau selling his birthright to Jacob because he got hungry. And what did Jacob do? Jacob's name means supplanter until God changed Jacob's name to Israel, okay? Israel is a person before it was a nation, just for everybody's, historic accuracy.
Indeed. And so
the point I'm making about that, do you understand? This is what they're going to do. They, the Illuminati, the Luciferians, the powers that be, are going to starve you into submission.
Yeah, and we covered that way back when. Look,
right.
It's a heck of a lot easier to get these people to go to these camps when there's food there and there's no food in their pantry. So
I know. And can I tell you something? I'm about kids too. Okay, and when I make this statement, single moms. I also help single dads because single dads have a tough road to hoe, especially because they're not usually a motherly figure, and they've got to maintain jobs and everything. So we help single dads who are having a difficult time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give out my phone number. I'm getting emails, Doug. Tomorrow you can call my store after 9 o'clock, 406-586-4840, 406-586-4840. That's Renaissance Precious Metals. Or you can go, and that's where you order the bison. Or you can go on Dry Harvest website, click on that number, contact them. And for those of you that can, remember this, the protein will go the first. Doug, when I was in a helicopter flying over some of the most amazing land in Montana, where the grass should have been 8 to 12 inches high, the farmers are already stressing because they're going to have to buy hay. I can promise you this, it probably was not any higher than 2 to 3 inches. It was so dry that the land looked like it was late August instead of the end of June. Normally June in Montana would be a typical total rain month going into maybe the first 2 weeks in July. This is happening. They're starving people into submission. Please, ladies and gentlemen, you can call Dry Harvest, take advantage of their platinum package. I tell everybody this. I live in this world. I hear people complaining, well, they just called so and they're 4 weeks to 8 weeks out. Well, call Dry Harvest and ask them how fast they can get it to you. I don't think they're that. I think they're pretty quick. Like order 1 week, ship the next. But nobody can stay when there's a panic, because here's what's happening: every food canner, every food formulator putting A and B together and making C. Everybody has to get raw materials. Trucking strikes, stop the raw materials. Transportation, and this is why I'm just going absolutely overboard to force the issue. What happens when someone can no longer eat on their own? They have to be force fed, either by IVs, intravenous, or they have to basically have some way of getting nutrition into their system. And obviously, if they're unconscious, it's an IV. What I want you to have, though, is I want you to have FV. That's full view of how dire it's getting. I'm not the one saying it's getting dire. It's these people. I report it, and people say, well, you're making this up. No, I'm not making it up. Go look it up. You know what? People who are too bloody lazy to look it up always claim that those who've done their homework are making it up.
Exactly. And people accuse you, hey, you just want to sell chili. That's all you want to do. And it sickens me.
And I'm telling people they're not going to be chilly too longer, and it's going to get real hot. And I'm not, now I'll take my chance. The point is this, is that I have always been ahead of the curve. My critics, they can just go choke on their own vomit, I'm serious, because they absolutely do not see the lateness of the hour, and most of them are paid critics, most of them are paid character assassinations, and the point being is this: I'm not asking anybody, Doug, from the very first show I ever did on talk radio in Johnstown, Colorado, I said, take everything I say or anybody else's, take it to the Lord, and if you don't know Jesus, then ask him into your heart, because he's the only one. Like, people sometimes give me impossible questions to ask, and my answer back to them is, you need to ask God. I'm not him. That's a God question. By the way, I don't even compare myself. I'm just a kid who's redeemed. I love the fact that my Redeemer lives. I love the fact that God has sent his angels in the highways and byways compelling people to come in, and I pray literally for the day that men's hearts, the scales. I tell people, by the way, Doug, men have two sets of scales. They have them on their eyes that blind them and on their hearts that weigh yes or no. It's funny because women typically, especially when it comes to prep and when it comes to finance, do way better than most of my male clients. I'd say it's like 3 to 1, because they know in their heart of hearts they're intuitive. Where men, you know, they got to grunt and groan and try and, you know, not all of them, but I got to tell you, I meet a lot of them that do. Then there are the exceptions. Guys like my buddy in Mississippi, that man knows exactly what he wants and he goes for it. And there's so many wonderful, wonderful people out there. But I'm talking about primarily the mainstream investor who believes somehow everything's going to fall into their lap. I just pray it's not their head.